And hold on, we're starting. All right, people, we are live.
All right.
Ooh, I'm in the sunshine.
Yes, you are. And welcome to this is our third forum, our March forum. Welcome, uh, Nathan and Lynn. Please take it away.
All right, Lynn, community, what you got to say?
Hi, everyone. I'm Lynn Rhodes. I am the co-founder and executive director of Authoring Action. Enjoying this sunshine that's coming through my window here, and really thrilled to be a part of this community of Authoring Action and the supporters and the folks who are our friends in the community. It's great tonight to have some of our Renaissance authors with us. Our program and outreach coordinator, of course, LaVey Lemon, and Willie Holmes, our assistant artistic director. But we also welcome Tony Jenkins, who's from New York, and Nani Aguna, who's just moved to Atlanta, and James Terry, who is in LA.
Coast to coast.
And they join our Ask Guy authors, Austin Willard, who's a junior at Reynolds High School, Lorianne Trethaway, who's 7th grade at Kennedy, and Shatea Thomas, who is at Parkland, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, no, I thought so. And so we are going to explore community tonight. One quick announcement. Our Just Us program is a filmmaking program for teens, and our fall winter session graduation is tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. It's a live virtual screening of the films that were made by those Just Us teams. And we would love for you to join us. You do have to register, but you can go to our website to do that, or to our Facebook page to register for that virtual screening of the Just Us films, followed by Q&A with our filmmakers. So we hope you'll join us. But on with this evening, and thank you to Willie Holmes for organizing this, and LaVey Lemon, and I'll hand this off to Nathan Ross Freeman.
Nathan Ross Freeman, co-founder and artistic director. And first I have to say, Lynn, I can't take my eyes off your background. I mean, literally, it is so Rembrandt. I just want to freeze that and just touch it up a little bit. I mean, that's a cold-blooded, the way the green is and the way the sun's coming in. You couldn't have done that on purpose. Okay, cool. Today, we're going to be vibing and riffing and jiving with community, the word community. That's what we're going to be doing. It's a bluesy word if you think about it, especially if you take the TY off, commune. It's a so bluesy word, and it's like in the world today and what's going on now, it's a dark poem, though. It's a dark poem and a war anthem, but at the same token, there's so much hope. There's so much hope in the idea of community, because the whole communities are coming together and saying, we ain't going to be denied. But I'm going a little bit too far, because we're going to discuss the word in depth. But I did rule something. I have a community, a bonding of neighbors, community, a gathering of your self-loves, community, a preponderance with posterity, community, a collective that takes the rag off the bush. My mama always used to say, Nathan, that takes the rag off the bush. I ain't figure out to this day what that means, but I felt it the way she made her face. Nathan, that takes the rag off the bush. Community, a you and me who proclaim, if you're going to be my friend,
be my friend.
Be my friend.
Be my friend.
All right. And with that, shoot, what time is it now? We got to go. Is this time to go into first think discussion?
So I'm gonna get some remarks first, just about from LaVey and Tony about community.
Cool. That's what I want to hear from.
Yeah. Hi, I'm LaVey Lemon. I'm the program and outreach coordinator with Authoring Action. I'm happy to be here this evening with all you good folk. I am excited about our topic because I think it is something that is sweeping across the nation when you think about community and what it means to different people, from gentrification to revitalization and all these different things that's happening in different communities. I think it's something that's worthwhile for us to discuss and for us to really put our footprint on about what we think about the matter. So I'm excited to hear.
Hi, I'm Tony Jenkins, longtime resident of Authoring Action's world, and I'm on the National Advisory Board. I've been all kinds of a staff member, but I've been around all the people you'll see on the Zoom for quite some time. Some people less, but some people, over a decade, which is wild. Willie and LeVay were my mentors my first summer, which it's funny to, and
Wow.
Jane was in my ensemble with me. So it's been that long. And I'm suddenly feeling very bashful. Maybe it's because Nani Agbuna is with us tonight, and that's a special treat for everyone. we toot Nani. When I think about community, I immediately sort of think about something that is ancestral. I imagine people around a fire. And when I think about community, I think, what is the buy-in to that sort of community? Well, it's what you're taught. So, to be a part of this community, we will teach you how to hunt. We will teach you how to gather. We will teach you how to fish. We will teach you how to plant. We will teach you skills that allow you to participate in our loving community. And what does that then become in the year 2021? Or what has that become in whatever sort of modernity you want to think about? And I do think that a lot of community is what it is that you choose to teach people that they may not know, teaching each other what you know. And at Authoring Action, so much of what we do as staff members is we teach students and authors how to write. And then through that process, so much of it feels to me that we teach each other how to be honest. We teach each other how to see ourselves differently. We teach each other how to see other people differently. And, the root of the word community, I think about commune. I also think about common, what is it that we have in common? And here, I think we have this agreement that in common that storytelling is a way to find common ground with audiences. Let me tell you something about life that you may not know, or let me show you something about your own life that you may not have seen that way until you saw it through my unique perspective as a writer. And this is coming from, our youngest authors to now our Renaissance authors who, span all sorts of ages. Let me show you a new common ground we might have about life itself, which to me, it does feel like that kind of bigness, the stuff we do. And I think it's why the bond in this community, this Authoring Action community, stays so strong over all these years. And so I do hope that that is a part of your experience, sort of witnessing some of the work tonight and being a part of this discussion, is that we find some sort of common ground together, because I always feel like I'm learning from the people here on the screen in front of me. So I'm really excited as well to have this time together. So I'll pass it off to you, Nathan.
And I'm gonna pass it right back to you because that's what we're gonna get into. We're gonna jump into the word. Let's become immersive. Community, tell me about community. Tell me more about community. Your version.
I think it's important right now that community is having to be recognized as something that's not only physical, because what's happening to physical communities is that people are being thrown out of that space, particularly in this city with very little options of where to go, with public housing decreasing and what they call revitalization increasing all over the city. So I think it's important that people are starting to realize that community is not only a physical thing, but it's the people.
Well, what I'm hearing is, in terms of everything that somebody said before, particularly in terms of the remarks that we've made about community, is, and I'm really hitting on that word, the denotation being common. And what I think is peculiar to all communities is the degree to which there is a sharing. And in that sharing, there is a fairness and there's a justice or whatever. Some, so in talking about community, tell me about equality.
I'm interested in the way that to share, to like contribute equally does not mean that you contribute the same thing or even the same amount, but like do you offer up something that's necessary, that is and how different sort of offerings can be of equal value even though they're very different, kind of like how a community of artists bring a different thing to the greater community than the doctors, right? They do different jobs in ways, but I think you could argue that they're equally valuable to like the larger community. So there's a quality in like the value. There can be a quality in the value you put on what people bring to the table.
Okay.
My question is though, who decides what's equal for each individual? Do I, as an individual who's a part of the community, get to decide what's equal for me? Or is there someone in the community who decides that? And I asked the same question about equity too, because equity is supposed to be the idea that everybody gets what they need.
Do you think that it has
Don't-
something?
don't do that.
Don't you think it has something to do with people feeling their own sense of value and determination, that self-determination and their own sense of value and the power of their own voice, so that they feel seen, they feel heard, they feel valued equally, respected equally, and they're able to show up without any kind of fear or feeling insecure about that. Their own sense, like, yeah, that they know they have a place. Their place is as important as everybody else's.
Well, yeah, I'm hearing Tony end with the value of what you bring to the table, which is interesting because that states that there has to be two or more individuals. I wonder how we play with the word equality when it does come to the individual. And that's what I'm hearing from Lynn is basically a surveillance of the degree to which you have a self-perception. So we have people coming to the table, and then we also have a person reflecting on what they have to bring to the table. But, to advance this conversation, since I've been fed and encouraged to do so by someone who cautioned me not to bring in the synonym to this word equality, tell me about the difference between equality and equity.
So I think that when I think of equality, I think of separate but equal. So it's like everybody is valued the same. That's what I think of when I think of equality. I value Tony the same way I value Willie. But with equity, because Tony is Tony and Willie is Willie, I value Tony the way that he needs to be valued. And I value Willie the way Willie needs to be valued. But I ask the same question for both. Who is the one to determine what that is for each individual? Like, am I able to decide that for myself and then let the person know what I need? Because equity is supposed to provide you with what you need to get to the same space as everybody else in the community. But I need you to let me tell you what that is. And what I'm seeing a lot that's happening in communities with this idea around equity is that people are coming in with their own money and doing what they think needs to be done for that community. So that's what I think about it.
Yeah, I agree. Because for me, I think equality has more to do with like sort of like the things that you can see, and then equity has more to do with the things that you can't see, like the things that you can't physically put your hands on. And I think both have like such a has to do with so much trust. You have to put trust into whether things are equal and whether things have equity. And I think those are the things that like make a community. It's the trust that you put into things being equal and things being equitable.
Exactly. And I think they both will require a person who wants to achieve those things to be involved with the community some type of way. But so many people are talking about these ideas, but they're not involved with that community. They're doing their own thing at a separate table and then coming into the space with what they think people need.
That throws me back into something that makes me want to throw a monkey wrench even in this. What I want to make this a triptych. Then, because I keep hearing word and judgment and perception, but I keep hearing it in the word of value, and that's a word that's being thrown around a lot now in terms of value. What? Tell me about value. What is value?
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Austin.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. So when I think of equity versus equality, I think of that graphic. It's widely circulated. I don't know if I can share my screen, but I just found it.
The tree?
It's not a tree.
Oh,
It's
That was like
hold on.
Is it the baseball one?
Can y'all see my screen?
Mm-hmm. It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, this y'all can see that?
Yeah.
The baseball one, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very image, Nani. I keep thinking about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, this is the image that always comes to mind for me when I think of equity versus equality. I think if we're to kind of attempt to answer the question about value, Mr. Nathan, I think that and this still, points to LeVay's question about who determines what the value is, but like if the powers that be truly see each person as equal, they see, this person is equal, this person is equal, this person is equal, then equity is like the idea that because all of these people are equal, they all deserve what they need to be able to like see the playing field equally, if that makes sense. And so this person, the tallest person, obviously does not need this little soapbox. They can already see. The medium height person maybe needs one soapbox while the shorter person needs two. Like if you're saying that they are all equal and so they all equally deserve to see this playing field, like their value is all equal, then we have to address like their specific needs in order to like grant them an equal access, if that makes sense.
So basically what you're saying to a certain extent is that the value that jibes equality and equity, where equality is opportunity, equity would be justice.
Mm-hmm. I think.
But value is the degree to which opportunity jibes with justice.
I think value is more so like what is needed to enact justice. Like we have to believe that everyone has this equal value. We have to believe that everyone deserves an equal opportunity to even begin to try to, enact justice. And so I don't think that, opportunity breeds justice, or I might be confusing what you're saying.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah, because when I looked at your picture, and I'm just summarizing your picture, that's when like people say, well, everybody has an equal opportunity. This is America.
Right.
So like, yeah, so that little guy, well, one day he's going to grow up, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But equity is saying, but, having an opportunity may not be enough.
Right.
To achieve equity. And value is basically the degree to which I would say, from what I've heard from everybody else, is that value is the degree to which you weigh in
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. It's like
Mhm.
almost value,
Value
you
is
know.
advocacy. Value is the work so that justice can come into play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Value is what makes justice happen. I think value is because when I see that image you posted, Nani, I
That's
think
strong.
when people say to about the all lives matter versus Black Lives Matter, like if we're all in the neighborhood together and one house is burning down, I'm not going to go put out everybody else's house. I'm going to put out the house that's on fire. And so that's with the All Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter, it's like everybody's life is not at stake the same way. So we have to deal with the lives that are at stake every day.
Mm.
So it's advocacy. It's being able to call out what's going on. And it's being able to do that in all of the spaces. It's been able to do that to people who say all lives matter. And it's been able to do that with the people who say Black Lives Matter. You see what I'm saying? So it's being able to say to this tall guy, like, hey, you don't need this. You can see the game just fine. And saying to the shorter people, like, hey, you need one and he needs two because he's shorter than you. It's being able to call out what you see happening and doing that in every space you get into and every chance you get. It is advocacy. Value is advocacy so that justice can happen.
And LeVay, I think that still points to your previous question about like who is enacting the justice, who determines the value. And I think the way that our society is set up, like obviously we want to imagine that we're electing leaders who value everyone the same and, you know, who have this high regard for equality, but they don't. Like just look at the way the world is structured, right? They don't. And so I think that it's hard to achieve equity when everyone's idea of like value and equality is not the same. And I think that I'd say that's one of the biggest barriers to equity right now is, you know, our leadership. And of course it falls on all of us. We can all play our part in our communities and everything, but I think at a larger scale, it's going to be very hard to see an equitable society if we maintain the structures that we currently have.
And I think that all boils down to the thing, which is like equality, they feel very different to me. Equality, I feel like has been around since I was born. Equity feels kind of new to the public consciousness. And it's because equality feels so palatable. It's like, yeah, of course everyone is equal. Of course, yeah, everyone, right here, absolutely. Equity requires an acknowledgement. Not only of people's difference, and then you have to value people's differences because you have to believe that the shortest person, their contribution is just, we need it so much so that we're willing to put another box there, which a lot of people don't feel that way. But more than that, what's not in that picture is there's another version of that where there's a fourth person who is as short, but they're like in a hole that's 5 feet deep because, you know, there are systems that dug a hole, so they have to add 2 more boxes to the ones that are not seen in that photo, and that's where I think people are not willing to go, because I think some people can extend themselves so far to say like 2 boxes, absolutely sure. We see that he's shorter, you can't quite see over the fence. There's someone who's so short that's in the hole next to that person who cannot even see the grass, and because they're not seen there, they're like, well, we don't have that many boxes. And to give away that many boxes, like everyone should get a box then. So, it requires the acknowledgement that people are different. And of course, equality, I think, speaks to something that's very altruistic. Like, yes, there is one race, the human race. Absolutely. But we live in a world where we live in separate, you know, disjointed continents in different communities that have different beliefs, different sets of values, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, all the things that organize us, religion being one of those huge ones that, like, you know, that causes a lot of this. But that's all to say, yes, it requires something that is much harder than saying like, well, yes, everyone should be equal. Yeah, sure. I think everyone can get behind that. Not everyone can get behind the fact that that people's difference has to be put into play in this equation.
I would just like to jump in right quick. I just want to jump in right quick. We have a question from an anonymous user. Their question is, what is equity? And they would like to get your guys' definition of what is equity?
So I think equity is the recognition of what this individual person needs or what this particular community needs to be successful versus giving them the same thing you've been giving everybody else. Is being able to provide what's needed.
Could you give an example of what that is versus equality?
So if I am a student with a learning difference and I have to read my test out loud every time I take one, and I'm in a classroom full of everybody else, and there's another student in the classroom who is a straight A student and doesn't need the same assistance as myself with the learning difference. Equity is giving us that same test, but allowing me the space to read my test out loud, even if that means putting me in a separate classroom. I have the same test as the A+ student, but the circumstances are different because I have a learning difference. So equality is giving us the same test. Equity is allowing me to take my test in the other classroom because I need to read my questions out loud.
In the way that you need it. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Do they want to answer from everybody?
Yeah, Austin, did you have something to say? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, you good. I was, but then I started listening and I was kind of like learning something I didn't realize actually. So I was kind of like, I don't think I needed to say anything. I was kind of
Okay,
learn a
cool.
little bit.
Well, what did you learn?
I didn't think about how how do I say it? Like the illustration or how the shortest person 6 foot deep that's not even in the picture needs different than I didn't even think of. That wasn't in my head. And originally I had something to say, but then I realized I needed to listen for a second.
Something I just thought about when Tony said that same thing made me realize, like, advocacy is not always just being able to say what's going on, but advocacy requires some people to relinquish their power that they have in this system that's set up by this nation because they benefit from what was slavery then and what is slavery now. So benefiting from that system of oppression, you have to be able to relinquish that benefit to give that person the boxes they need to be dug up out of that hole. And yes, you're absolutely right. It's a lot of people who's willing to say, okay, these are what these people need, but they don't want to have to relinquish the benefits that they have for a person who needs something from what they benefit from. I need a system of oppression to stop versus another person who needs the system of oppression to continue so that they can continue to have privileges and benefits. So yes, a lot of that part of advocacy is being like shot down. You know, people aren't doing it.
Let me ask you a question because from everybody's telling me, from what I'm hearing from everyone that equity should be, that equality may be, but equity should be. And my only question there is that, tell me about evidence in nature where either equity or equality is exhibited as a mandate where it's built into.
No, you're right. I think I was thinking this whole time, like, equity is something that is already not already there, but equity is what your value, like what you said, your value, what you're worth, and whether your value is not where other people are. It is, I feel like equity is just like how, like what you bring to the table, like whether it be like your like equity, how much equity you have, like yourself, or through society, like what, like your class, like where you are, like what class you're in. Like I feel like, yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm just adding what I was thinking.
That's very important, because this is, I might be bending the rules a little bit here, but it's just everything begs the question, because I'm hearing natural law, and then I'm hearing human law, and I'm wondering how, because your questions are so powerful. I mean, your comments are so powerful. It makes me wonder the influence that, I mean, does it exist in the human genome in a natural way?
I don't think it exists in a natural way, to answer your question. I think in high school, I did a lot of like philosophy readings and stuff. And Thomas Hobbes was a philosopher who's famous for saying that the state of nature is like dog eat dog, every man for themselves, blah, blah, blah. That's just how, if take out all of the societal structures, the human laws we've created, the state of nature is like, I'm going to get mine at the expense of you, and you. But obviously that wasn't working great for everybody. So we entered into social contracts. And that's where, human laws come to be. And that's where class structure emerges, and, capitalism emerges, and blah, 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 blah. So I don't think it exists naturally. I think for the greater good, for the sake of the community, it should exist, right? I think equity has to be, in order for equality, like, to exist in the way that it needs to. And then the other thing I was going to say is that, and I keep, coming back to that illustration, but we look at the first version of that where it's like everyone has one box, and we think that's equality, but that's just equal distribution. I think the equality that we're aiming for is for everyone to be able to see the game from the same point of view. You see what I'm saying? It's not about the boxes. Like, the equality is, can everyone see this ball game? And equity is what has to happen in order for everyone to see the ball game. So that, the first illustration there to me is like, that's not even equality. That's literally just you throwing out boxes, and everyone gets the box because you had 3 boxes and it's 3 people. But that's not equality, because the tall person sees the game, you know what I mean? The middle person sees a bit of the game, the shorter person still doesn't see any of the game. And so I think that because we have all entered into this social contract, whether, we think we are or not, it benefits us all to build an equitable society and to work towards an equitable society. But no, to answer your question, I don't think it exists in nature.
Yeah, and one of the things that you're suggesting, obviously, in that philosophy, speaks to the Darwinian rules, and it also speaks to a phrase that I just is haunting me, because it's used but very seldom used in understanding something even beyond racism and classism and all that. And that is, Nani, you used a phrase that very few people use, the powers that be. Because you have the powers that be who basically decide the degree to which somebody can even express a value between equality and equity. That's when you basically say both equality and equity need 2 instruments. If we want to talk about something that we want to talk about, everybody sees the game, and ain't nobody in a hole where they not even noticed. And that's advocacy and justice. That's what I'm getting. That equity, if there is equality anywhere, then it can basically be excited by either justice, if everything is cool, advocacy, if something else is needed. Everybody go around, we're out of time. I want everybody to make one statement based on our conversation about equity and equality, but I want you to make one statement about community as it relates to equity and equality.
I think I'll sort of answer your question and answer that, what you just posed. Because to Nani's point, I think we do see it in nature in smaller communities. Like, I think about, there was this study, they found these fossils They found this, maybe it was a group. Oh, I'm going to get this wrong. But the point is, they found the fossilized remains of someone who had a broken leg or something. But the implication was that that person had broken their leg, and instead of abandoning him, whatever group of people he was traveling with carried him and cared for him, even with this broken leg. And so instinctually, I think we're talking about maybe even pre-Neanderthals. See, I cannot cite my sources in this moment. I'll follow up with an article or something if you're interested. But they did, but in evidence of human history, or like, very pre-human history, as we are, evidence of smaller communities caring for, in particular, the sick and wounded. Which I think, yes, I think what we're doing now in a bigger picture way is we're talking about the larger community. And I think in a world of globalism, not to zoom too far out, we are starting to think about what is the greater world community. And, lots of nationalists do not want to have that kind of conversation, but, we are more interconnected than we've ever been. We have to think about the world community. And then the community of a nation, which is so much bigger than my neighborhood. And I feel like that is the sort of that's why the ideas feel like they're getting bigger, is because we're having to talk about a larger community, because now we have an awareness of people in other places
And we see it.
that we did not have before in human history. So
And
yes,
plus we can't hide the man and the person in the whole.
And our sense of responsibility that we're all connected, and that our well-being is connected and our suffering is connected. I mean, and the pandemic has shown us that. The United States can get lots of vaccines, but if we don't share those with countries that don't have access, then what good is that? I mean, that's a good example, I think, of a way that we can participate in equitable distribution, like not privileging one country over another, one group of people over another, that everyone should have the right.
Okay.
I kind of like
Go around. Go ahead.
I kind of like a question and like an idea, like with Nani's image. I was kind of thinking like, I don't know if I have the answer. I'll kind of leave this out for you guys and the general public. What is it? I see like three people behind a fence, and I wonder what it looks like when it comes to equity and equality, what it looks like when they're actually sitting in the stadiums at the ball game, because that's genuinely how it's, that's how you're supposed to see the ball game. So I'm just wondering what that kind of equality and equity looks like, rather than just being behind the fence where you don't even have a ticket. You're just kind of.
Yeah, finally somebody brought up the fence.
Yeah.
Because that's a ground rule. I said, okay, but what about the fence?
Yeah. I figured you want to see it, in the stadiums.
I mean, the fence is the issue. That's where I see the powers that, Nani's powers that be. Go ahead, round the room. Everybody make a statement about community based on this discussion of equality and equity. Everybody.
Mine is I think of equality as as living. You have the right to live, and then equity is you have the right to thrive, and it's like living versus thriving.
Okay. Interesting.
I think what I would say is that the community that most of us want, the community that the good people in the world want, the community that benefits the most of us, is dependent on equity. And like Ms. Lynn was saying, it's dependent on, doing the things we can to literally just level the playing field and, eradicate some of the privileges that we hold near and dear. I think the community that we want needs us to be equitable. I think true equality is dependent on equity. Yeah.
The right thing. So there is such a thing as the right thing.
That's a different discussion, but I think so.
Okay, Laura, Lorian?
I'm trying to get my words together, but from what I can remember that I just said in my head is community. I feel like we have equality, but I feel like if we were to build a bigger and better community, it could get to the standards of equity. Like I feel like we don't have that correct level of equity except in certain places.
Okay. Someone once said, war is the consummate level playing field. Sataya?
She looks like she's frozen. So
Yeah, she does. Sataya, okay.
Mine
Yeah,
is,
okay.
though it does not currently exist, because we live in an era with a generation who tears down the fences, there is still hope for community.
Okay.
I kind of piggybacking on what you just said. I think Gen Z and people younger generations are kind of giving like value to themselves, giving themselves equity, and giving themselves by creating opportunities like breaking down the wall practically.
Okay.
Not waiting on validation, just doing it.
Yeah, just doing whatever you want.
That's it.
Want to do it.
Doing whatever you want. Sataya, last but not least, certainly.
I feel like community is something or a group of people that's trying to push like their village or neighborhood forward in the future instead of trying to lead them back. Like instead of everybody for themselves, they're trying to build up together.
Okay. A future village, a village about the future.
What
Cool,
would it look like if every child in Forsyth County was ready to go to kindergarten? What would we have to do to help make that happen? What would we have to do to make sure every child was ready, to enter first grade?
deep.
I don't know, but seems like
Responsible for that.
well, we have to rid ourselves of the clandestine reaper of child mortality.
That too.
So many levels to that. We have some comments from the audience, and I cannot pronounce this name, and I'm so sorry about this. So I'm not even going to try. But we have first, the start of civilization was caring for wounded. That is community. And from Lauren Trethaway, we have take it down equals inclusion. Thank you.
Powers that be.
And moving on, I think that's a good segue to move on.
Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. Willie, take it away. Thank you. First of all, I want to, because it was a lot. There was a lot of learning in that. There was a lot of learning in that. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Before you start, Willie, I have to hop off. I just want to say I'm so happy I got to join today, and I hope I can join again in the future, but I really love y'all.
I thought you were supposed to be making some discussion. Do you have some comments you need to make? You're on the list. Yeah, you don't have no piece of a discussion.
That was the discussion.
Oh yeah, I was about to say.
Oh, don't let her off the hook like that.
Listen,
No,
I had to make certain promises. And I got her on the line.
No, I'll be back. I really will. But I appreciate y'all and love y'all. And thanks for this tonight.
Thank you.
I need some of that time, Nani, for real,
I will.
okay?
I will. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
So we're going to segue into the Ask the Guy, what we do portion of the events. And starting us off, we have Shatea. Look at her hair, Thomas.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shatea Thomas, and this is Community. My Black excellence is overlooked. My Black empowerment is a crumb to society. To many, I am an uneducated money hog. To those who know me, I am intelligent, beautiful, bright. But to my village, I am a warrior, a fighter, a survivor. Throughout all the pain, the suffering, and loss, I'm still me. I rose into a better person and grew into a woman. You think that's easy? Try walking a day in my shoes. Oh, wait, you can't, because I don't walk, I march. Every day I increase, never again decrease. Even though my path was bumpy rocks and slippery soap, you'll see me all over the globe. Always having time on my hands, I'm a clock. That alarm in my head flicks a light bulb, constantly shovering and shoveling my goals and futures, digging them deep down into my head, telling me I can't do it. I'm a one-girl community, fighting and surviving alone.
Mm. Woo. Mm. Rose, Taya.
Any comments you have for Shatea, Mr. Nathan, on that piece?
I've every week, every month, every week, I'm getting introduced to Shatea in increments, and every time she begins to share her work, her thoughts, Shatea, where are you? Come on now. Every time she shares her works, I learn a little bit more about her, and it's always she has me sitting up at the edge of my seat because I know that this piece I'm going to learn a little bit more, but more than that, just to watch her grow in terms of the way she uses language in such a way that if you keep going at the rate you're going, uh, uh, we always need you, but you're also becoming necessary to community. You can change something. You can change something. Yeah, I'm just, her power is there, and that's what I see, and that's what I hear with the development of her voice. Is it has there's an access, you can feel it in her, the reservoir, her capacity reservoir for coming out here, and I see she ready too. She ready to launch. Something about you can't step in my shoe. Oh no, you can't because I'm marching. You can't walk on my shoes over because I'm marching. That was my line.
Very, very well said. Next to the stage, we have Austin Release the Snyder Cuts Willard.
Hey guys, I am Austin Willard. I am Assegai of Gaia Ensemble 2019, and this is my community piece. I see a silver lining in my mother's eyes. She locks hands together that create a family, painted onto the walls of our home. She can see what I can't, almost a fortune teller that tries to nationally televise your every success in life. She wants you to vacate the devil's every move, never wants you to feel strife. Can't see past the baby boy wrapped in silver lining covers. Can't see past the struggle. Only wants it for herself. She wants to take in every hurt, try to take in every scare until that silver lining in her eye just becomes you. My mother is my community because I don't think she's ever had a breath of fresh air. Too tired from building a village for me just so I can call it a home. Her skin is marked with crayons and chalk of her baby boy's exoskeleton. Wants me to live a life that makes me happy. Yeah, there is a God. It lives within every sunrise and every sugary sunset, on every good day and on every upset bad, because no matter what, there's always her paintings on the wall, detailing me in ways I didn't think was possible. Every detail is marked with kaleidoscopic memories that she holds in a jar that turns into fireflies, too afraid to let the light out of her sight. A little girl who just let go of her balloon. My mother is my community. She wakes up a moon-bathed warrior, ready to set the burning sun on my scars and paper-thin soul. Even when the day I leave, she wonders what her baby boy wrapped in silver lining covers will become. Well, Mama, I'm here to tell you, I'll become the man that sees everything the way you do, noticing every detail, every silver lining, never letting the fireflies out of the jar.
Wow. Sometimes I used to think that in terms of your deliveries, that you were so sometimes almost over the top. And the more I hear you now, I realize how much you're really holding back. Where I'm thinking this may be something that's passion melodramatized. It's really not. You're trying to keep your seat. You're trying to, you're still pulling back on the catapult. You're writing, it's funny because before you came to the word kaleidoscopic, before it, I was several lines back before that, and I say he writes in kaleidoscopes. Writing is very kaleidoscopic, and it's not like a kaleidoscope where the colors are just unabashed and all over. But there is a methodology that just leads you through a storytelling where when you think you're getting ready to be overwhelmed by images or this, you pop out, you pop right back, and all those images fall into a plot point. And then the next cell series of images fall into another plot point. And you just see this three act dimension, boom. So when you basically said, Mom, you are my community, it was like right there. We're act 3. And then we know we're going to basically have this climax and then this denouement. And I would say, you neither have to recognize or calculate or design or devise your style. You need to keep writing through discovery and revelation, because one thing that's precious about your work, it naturally attunes itself to the brain and how we listen in 3 acts. No matter how you start off, you are always going to have a story with a conclusion that always has a twist. And we feel comfort in that. There's a comfort in listening to your pieces. I can just sit back and know that you're going to weave me in this kaleidoscope of images to a point where and everything is going to make so much sense along the way. Very powerful. And I think you're getting better at your monologues too, because I've been a little bit hard on you with that.
Yes. Poignant words, Mr. Nathan. Next to the stage, we have Lorian.
Making fun of me when he does that.
No. I truly meant it from the heart.
Okay.
From the heart. Next, we have Lorian, Laverne, and Shirley Trethewey.
I love it.
Hello, I am Lorian Trethewey. I am Assegai. I am Eminate Ensemble. This is community. Hula hoop formed community. The sound of drums shake the surface of our land. That the knee pads we are told to wear on our scooters won't break the concrete of our lungs. The gumdrop wrappers won't save us from our anxiousness. Cardboard won't keep us quiet. The church of our Lord has blessed us with this prance of joy. From the tip of our fingernail to the bottom of our bare feet, we stand at the podium and wrap our audience in saran wrap and unlock their brains to a whole new mindset. Inflamed coffee touches the tip of our tongue as we listen for the Air Force to fly over our heads.
Hmm.
The pit of snot we smell with has stopped the inhale. Swim in the ocean and whistle the sorrow of the tapestry that hangs on my wall. The lead I write with to present my word to the world, solitary was my friend, but it slowly became my enemy. My arm is on snooze. The sound of my mom's keychain as she comes through the front door. Drink my tears. My window seal has collapsed. The traumatizing sound has triggered my weakness. Weary my body gets as I submerge myself in shock. Contentment keeps me independent. Still my world of goodness, and you will provoke me to strike with vengeance.
Oh, man.
Strike with vengeance.
I'm too mesmerized to make a comment. How old are you again?
13.
Wow, we can do this for 5 more years. Hey, Tony, we got her for 5 more years. So I only have a question, because that piece that you wrote amounts to a study. And I'm talking about not just, and it's because of you. What's going on? I mean, what you went from here to here. What's going on with you, Lorianne?
I'm a happy
In terms
person.
of-
Sometimes I'm a happy person, like sometimes, especially when I'm around crowds. But like towards the end, Nani did ask me this, like when we were in the little breakout room. My answer to her question was, I'm only happy some of the time. And when I am, it's like not a miracle, but it's like a good thing. Like I'm finally happy. And I feel like at that moment, if someone steals that goodness from me, that free from me, it can result in negative.
That free from me, still that free from me. Yeah, but and beyond that, the question I said, how are you experiencing yourself as a writer and a speaker?
Can you explain?
I can. I wouldn't be asking you a question. I know I need to know exactly where you are, and I'm asking this more because of your age and because I mean you're kind of plowing your way through to something that's almost ahead. You feel what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? Willie, Tony, LeVay. I just need to know where your head is at in terms of being a writer and a presenter.
Strong. That's just the word I can think of to answer your question by understanding to my ability is strong. And clear.
Wow. You got to find a way to steal away and find a way to stay with us this summer.
Okay.
Figure it out.
She
The
will.
power
We'll
of
make
your
sure
piece.
she does.
Huh?
So she will. We'll make sure she does.
Yeah. But I have to speak to your piece. The only thing I can say about your piece is that is the power of your presentation, and the words combine so well that it's exuberant. You know, I can see Shataya with the bullhorn, but I can see you starting to riot. But I can see Shataya at the bullhorn, gathering people, and I can basically see you at the head of the crowd saying, come on, y'all, it's time. But very powerful.
Thank you.
We're rearing writers who are capable of taking us where we need to go, further and farther.
To the
Okay.
moon. And to that end, we have, the super renaissance, the artist of artists, the epitome of activism, the activists, LeVay, Riot, Limit.
Thank you, my brother, for using my artist name. I am LeVay Lemon, Program and Outreach Coordinator for Author in Action. I am Renaissance of Walking on Water WOW Ensemble of 2004. And this is Ode to Happy Hill Gardens. Those who don't know won't ever know what the gardens was, the pool, the rec, digs, every street, every block, every candy lady or freeze cup lady house. Gone.
The freeze cup ladies.
Forsyth County killed it because they couldn't stand the song it sang of rejoice in freedom without their outside help. Every local politician knew of this destruction. That's what I believe. Because HHG is as deep as the roots go for Black history in this city. Society calls it revitalization, quote, co-creation, when it's really gentrification that does everything to damage the following generation. Follow me, the leader, usually. But in these meetings, we are all peacocks. They can see our beauty, but refer to our passion as anger. It's sad because they look like us, masters of disguise. But our Black folk ain't clap folk, some boo. Resources are going into the ground to save soil, plant trees, neglects to protest against all the families thrown out of homes into homelessness so those with more money can rest easy, like being off on Monday, while they benefit from all others oppressed. This city is turning shackled pain into privileged passion. It's hate that needs to be flipped inside out, thrown into the machine of reinvention. But it is especially we that can save us. Every knowledgeable dealer who shared dollars with the kids so they can get something off the ice cream truck. Every wise mother that wasn't my mother but still raised me. All the courage in every kid who wasn't afraid of anything and ready to take the G with them to their highest points of life. We are students of the march. We don't look for soft, tiring ways out. We don't wait until something is torn down to save the history of it as a warning to our wider community and then call it restorative justice. Justice is not restorative. We are not pillows, don't sleep on us. We are the inspiration to the divinity of our ancestors. We are the preacher of every Black church on every Black corner. We are the artist of every paintbrush roar of the lion with the most strength. We are every star in all the universe, the grass that is greener on the other side. We quench thirst, we are water. We are what the all needs. Boarded up places, tired of our riot, treating us like a want, us knowing we are in need, that's a revolution. We are advocates that knows the dirt tells our stories, the capital T truth. We are the village of locks that escaped the waves built to destroy us. As creators, we've done it all. There is no understanding that. If you don't know that, our Black.
I know I've already commented on this piece, but I think you need to say this is, you need to do this piece every chance you get, everywhere you go. Period. Because it not only speaks to this, actually, what it puts me mind in, and I was in New York City in Harlem, benefiting as a playwright, having my work read in New York City about 2 or 3 summers ago, and there's no greater honor than that, except for the fact, and I was able to stay. I was able to stay with my homegirls, my homeboys, you know. So I didn't have to go to a hotel or nothing, man. It was like I was on 136, one of the few places, apartment buildings in Harlem that had a doorman. And but I remember that Saturday when the official count came out, and it said that Harlem now is predominantly white. Literally, the news came out that day. So when I think about this piece, even though I know it's predicated on Winston-Salem and what they're you know, the celebration of Happy Hill, it's a national piece. It's a national piece that needs to be heard almost in any city or town. Really?
Well, that's all the comments. We're gonna wrap it up. So
What do you mean?
I mean that's it. That's it.
What?
Yeah, that's the end of the event, the show. You know.
I didn't hear from Tony. I didn't hear from Willie.
Tony, do you have something to share with the audience?
Oh, put it on the spot. That's like really on the spot.
That was
you know.
that was you did that. I did that.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Of course I do. Let me pull up a document for you. This is great. This is great. I love people to see all parts of my process, especially before I anticipate. Oh wow, here I am spotlight. Oh,
to see all parts of our process.
Fantastic. Okay. Let me gather the energies here. Okay, I spoke. Y'all ready? I'm ready. Okay. I hit the night running against the grain of stars, abstract in motion, humming the thick undercurrent of veins, a daily devotional. Let's say we sing it like we mean it. Let's say the blood is the sea. Can we survive the high tide? Can we survive feeling everything all at once, especially the joy? Your joy is relatable content. Tell me about your joy. Moments that took your breath by the spine and popped it back into alignment. Tell me about your consultations with the constellations. Did they get your face right? How did it feel to be seen for exactly what you are, with the darkness in between? Ellipses stretched across Septembers, honeysuckled trail markers, vanishing points, everything pulled tight, sucked through the highest pitch of a harmonica, tense and following, unfolding forever into the unseen entrance of a kiss. Tell me about kisses. I'll tell you about kisses. Kisses are daisy chains. Every kiss makes bigger the crown. Crown me with everyone you've ever loved enough to want to taste their name. String it together into one long sound to howl at whatever moon you pray to. When I ask you for evidence of God, I hope you point to the nearest reflection. There is something about your laugh that is infinity, the way it stick to the rib, meat on the bone that echo into new understandings. Rooms with chapel light, the soft glow of elbows in the morning bumping into our stained glasses, half empty, half full. I absolve you of all your skins. I don't know what makes life worth living, except the hope stuck in my back molar that we've yet to see the most beautiful thing we will ever see. Give it now, freely. without shame or should, without question. Unless the question is more, give it with consent. Give permission to be moved, entered achingly. Give it without attachment, without needing to be right or painless. Give it in spite of, regardless of, because of the pain. Take away the dots above your eyes. Clear away anything that heavies your head. Decapitate your longing. You have everything you need to give it and get everything you ever wanted. Give it up. How a song go over a fire and outstretched stairs, the pitches of hands, and dance the dance your ancestors knew by bones. Give it, because no one will ever teach you how to give it as good as you can give it. Give it as good as you get. Give it back to the light in your eye. Seize the day. Carpe kisses. Take it. Take it. Take it.
What made you ever think that we could do without that? Now, Willie, you can take us home. But whatever made you think that we could have lived without that? You would keep that from us? Thank you so much, Tony.
That wasn't
Don't
just...
say nothing.
Okay.
I mean,
Don't say nothing.
It's definitely not my fault. I was told there was nothing prepared. That's okay. But I'll take the blame. All right. So thank you. I just want to say thank you for everybody who came on tonight. Nani, James, the rest of you people.
Can we all give Willie a
of
great
course.
round of applause?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Brother, this is a healing thing. You got to keep this up.
It's important. We're keeping up with our prime directive that we develop forums in collaboration with professional and renowned artists to
This is
engage
the vision.
the world. So may I just remind people, Willie, about tomorrow night at 7:00, Just Us virtual film screening to see the premiere of the Just Us films. Mr. Freeman not only is the writing teacher for the Just Us program, but he also was cinematographer and editor this time. So you get to see hands-on also with all the other wonderful collaborating artists, Jennifer O'Kelly, Frenchie Laverne, Jazz Salter, and under the incredible mentorship and leadership of LaVey Lemon and Willie Holmes. So we hope you'll join us tomorrow night at 7 on that virtual screening. And
Please don't miss this batch. These teams really gave it up. They really gave it up.
And please go to our website, authoringaction.org. We appreciate your support for continuing our programming. We've been working hard this year to continue to provide virtual programming. We're hoping to go live this summer with our summer intensive, which starts the last week in June and runs through the end of July. We are kind of shifting and trying to gear our work a little more towards 16 to 22-year-olds this summer. So if you're interested in being a part of Authoring Action and learning our creative writing process and how to engage on stage and in film, then check it out on authoringaction.org. And there's all the information that you need there to be in touch with us. So thank you so much for your support and your generosity in keeping Authoring Action not only alive, but thriving. You partner with us to do this work in the world, and we appreciate your support.
Willie, closing words?
Again, thank you. We will be doing this, again, coming soon. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Authoring Action, all one word, for more information. And thank you.
I'm trying to talk Willie into doing this 12 months around the clock. See ya. Bye. Thank you. On his behalf. Right.